कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। Hare Krishna. So we will continue to discuss our course that we have been pursuing of Bhagavad Gita in the seventh chapter, which is knowledge of the absolute. So in this chapter, Krishna is speaking both the knowledge, which is jnanam, and also he is revealing that is vijnanam, that is realization. And here Krishna is saying that one who is having the realization, one who is situated in knowledge, such a person is very, very rare. This is what we discussed in the last section. The rarity of a person who is in knowledge, and Krishna considers him to be just like his own self. Krishna considers such a person who is situated in knowledge of the Supreme Absolute Truth to be just like his true self. So Bhagavad Gita is a mystical book. Actually, if you see, it is Bhagavad Gita. Gita means song. Geet means song. And what kind of song do we like? The song which is pleasing to our ears, which is soothing to our mind, and which is pacifying to our hearts. So this Bhagavad Gita is such an amazing song that it continues to be sung even after being sung once more than 5,000 years before. Can you remember of any other song which was sung 500 years before? Can anyone remember any song? What to speak of any song which was sung 5,000 years ago? And this song is so pleasing to the ears. What does the ear like to hear? Something which is very musical, something which is melodious. And what is pacifying to the heart or to our minds? That is very meaningful. So Bhagavad Gita fulfills all the criteria. It is Bhava Shada Shotra Manobhirama. Bhava Shadi. Aushadhi means the medicine. It is the medicine for Shotra Mano Abhirama. Shotra means the ears. It is such a composition. It is so melodious. And even after so many years, the music which comes out from this book is so satisfying that the ears would like to again and again hear Bhagavad Gita. And the heart is so inclined to hear because hearing is not done by the ears. Many times we hear, but actually we don't hear. Why? Because our heart, our mind is not present. But Bhagavad Gita is so pleasing to the heart. Why? Because it is very meaningful. It defines the meaning of human life, how humans should lead life. And such a person who has realization, who is situated in knowledge, Krishna is very much praising him. Krishna is very much appreciating him, that he says that uh, such a person is Mahatma. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. What knowledge he has? That Vasudevam Sarvamiti. That one who is situated in this knowledge, that Krishna is the source of everyone and everything. He is the cause of all causes. And one has to surrender to Krishna. So in this section, the last section that we saw from verse number 13 till 19, that there are four kinds of people who surrender to Krishna, and there are four kinds of people who do not surrender to Krishna. And amongst all these categories, the one who is in knowledge, that means one who has realized that Krishna is the cause of all causes, such a person is Mahatma. Okay, going forward. So why can one not become a Mahatma? What is the difficulty in becoming a Mahatma? Why does one remain a Duratma? As if Arjuna is asking this question. And Krishna answers it from the next section. This is those who are not Mahatma, those who do not worship Krishna, but they worship others. So who are these people and what is their position? Krishna answers in the 20th verse. Switch on your videos. There actually only two of them have joined, Sanjana and Shreya. You have someone with you or only two of you are there?
Only two of us.
No, we will have the class, yeah. We will have the classes. Others are all absent. Okay. The 20th verse from the 7th chapter. So Krishna, Arjuna asks that the why people do not, those who are neither Dushkritinas and those who are not Sukritinas. So there is another category of people who are neither Dushkritinas, who do not surrender to Krishna, and there are people who surrender to Krishna. But what about those who do not surrender to Krishna, but surrender elsewhere to others? What is the position of those people? This is the verse number 20. Kamastestra hita jnana prapadyante anna devata tam tam niyama asthaya prakritya niyata swaya. So Krishna says that those who do not surrender to me, what is the principal reason? He says it is because of kamas, because of their desires, their unlimited desire to enjoy this material existence through their material bodies. And Krishna says the word Taister. Taister means unlimited, various kind of unlimited, unsatiated desires, burning desires they have in their heart. So to fulfill their desire, they do not surrender to me, but they surrender elsewhere. Where do they surrender? Prapadyante anya devata. They go and take shelter, or they go and take refuge in many other demigods. Anya. Anya means others. Devata means the demigods. So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender into demigods. And what do? How one can say that they are surrendering? Tam tam niyama asthaya. Niyama means the regulation. Astha, astha means faithfully following. Or they try to follow it. What they follow? They follow the rituals or the rules and regulations, how to worship that particular demigod according to their faith. Prakritya niyata swaya. And they are guided by their own nature. Prakriti means by nature. Niyata means one's. Swaya means by own. And niyata means control. So how they are approaching or following the demigods? Controlled by their own nature. What is their nature? What kind of nature they have? We discussed this in the first line. What nature they have? Come on, it's very simple. Please answer. What kind of nature they have? Yes, there you go.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, less intelligent.
Enjoying. As I said, they want to enjoy in this material existence. Of course, they are less intelligent because they are taking this as their goal of life. Of course, their intelligence is stolen. That is why they are thinking of enjoying. So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires. It is the material desire which is the cause of their intelligence being bewildered or being stolen. Surrender into demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Very interesting. They follow their own natures. What is their nature? Is that you fulfill my desire. How I can enjoy. So Prabhupada says in the purport that those who are freed from material contamination surrender unto Supreme Lord and engage in devotional service. This is what we discussed in the last section. These are all bhaktas, premi bhaktas, loving devotees of the Lord. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed out, they are by nature non-devotees. But sometimes we say that, many times we feel that we behave as if we are devotees. And many times it happens that we behave as if we are non-devotees. What is the reason? When we are guided by our own material desires, at that time, our nature or our behavior is as if we are non-devotees, wanting to enjoy, wanting to control. But even those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature. This is very important. Prabhupada is quoting here. Okay, those who have material desires, so those who are in this material world, most of us are having unlimited material desires. That is the very nature of the three modes. What is the influence of the three modes? That one aspires for enjoying matter or material existence. So that is inbuilt. Within the material creation, the three modes are there, and within the three modes, this material contamination is by default. But there is another category. There are two categories. Category is those who have material desires. So if we visualize, if we analyze, most of the people will come in this category, those who have material desires. But with those who have material desire, they are again classified into two, primarily two. Those who worship some demigods. For them, this verse is being spoken. Kamasteste hita jnana prapadyante anadevita. But then there is another category that one has material desires, but he still worships Krishna. So what is the difference between two? That is explained here in Srimad Bhagavatam. That one who has material desires, but he does not approach the demigod, he worships Krishna. This is said But even those who have material desires and who resort to Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature. So the material energy's influence on them is much less. They are not much attracted by external nature. Because of approaching the right goal, they soon become free from the material lust. Because they have approached the Supreme Lord. So, from Artha or Artharthi or Jigyasu, there is all possibility for them to quickly become a realized soul, a Jnani. They soon become free from the material lust. Because Krishna is supremely pure. And anyone who comes in contact with Krishna, what is the result? The result is that all his contamination, all his material desires, all his aspiration for material existence or material enjoyment is gradually purified. Like an example is given, if the gold, how to make the gold pure, what is the process of making the gold pure? If the gold has impurities or it has contamination, how the gold is made pure? Who knows? Should be knowing. What is the process to make the impure gold become pure? Boli? No, you have already spoken. Some others can respond. Those who have not spoken.
Burn it. Burn it at high temperature.
Yes. To bring it in association with fire. As soon as it comes in association with fire, what the fire does? The fire burns all which is impure with gold. Gold is not burned, but the impurity which is along with the gold is burned and the gold becomes pure. Similarly, if we have material desires or if we have material tendencies or enjoying tendencies, that is there because we are in the material existence. But even if we have that, we should not approach anyone else. If we approach Krishna, then what will be the effect? The effect will be that if the impure comes in association with the pure, the impure also becomes pure. So this is very, very important. This is very mystical. So many times we have given an example of iron and fire. Till the time iron is in fire, iron attains the qualities of fire. Its property becomes the same of fire. And if you touch it, it will burn. So they soon become free from material lust. Why? Because of approaching the right goal. And what is the right goal? Is to approach Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is a pure devotee and is free from all material desires, that is first class, or one is full of material desires, that may be fourth class, or desires liberation from material contamination, which is also third class. He should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva. Or what is the second? First class is one who is not having any material desires. Fourth class is one who has all material desires. Third class is one who has desires for liberation. What is the second class? Any suggestions? Who will be second class? Who is neutral? Who is neutral? One who is not having any material desires, but he does not have any spiritual desires also. So one may be in either category, whether he is first class or he is second, third, or fourth, wherever he may be. He should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva and worship him. That is the recommendation as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 10th verse. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udardi tivrena bhakti yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. So akama means that without any material desires. That means one is completely free. He is free from all contamination. He is pure. Or sarva kamova. That is the other extreme. One is completely free from material desire, and the second category is one who is imbued with all material desires. Sarva kamova. Or one may be having moksha kama. Kama means desire, for moksha means liberation. So they are all udaradi. Why they are all udaradi? Because they have approached Krishna. We saw in the previous verse also what Krishna said in the 18th verse, that all those who approach him, they are udara. You see the 18th verse, it begins with the same word, udara sarve evete jnani tva atma eva memata. So one may ask, why they are being considered udar? They are with all material desires, or they have desire for liberation. Why they are being referred here as udar? Why they are being said as udar? Udar, you understand? One who is very generous or very magnanimous, or one who is very broad-hearted. His heart is very broad, a big heart. Why they are being called udar? Even after having material desires, even having desires for liberation, why they are being considered udar? Video on kariye. Half of the people are video off. It's not a good sign. If you want to receive knowledge, at least be visible. Why they are being considered udar? हरे कृष्णा मानिनी माता जी तो उनका बाय डिफॉल्ट है, जब तक 4-5 बार बोलेंगे नहीं.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम.
Why they are being called udara? Last time we discussed udara sarva evete jnani to atma eva memata. Why Krishna is using the word udar for even those who are having material desires, or who are having aspirations for liberation? How can they be udar? What is the magnanimity? Where is the magnanimity? Well, I hope you are connecting. This is the way to connect. So how even at whatever stage we are, we can still connect with Krishna. Manoram bro, why the word udar is being used both ways in Srimad Bhagavatam also, and udara dhi. Dhi, you understand? What is dhi? Please respond, Manoram bro. Dhi means intelligence. So how can sarva kama and moksha kama be udaradi? Why they are all called udaradi, or udara sarve evete jnani tu atma eva memata? What is the magnanimity? क्या हुआ, समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या? Am I speaking Latin or French that you are not able to understand? Answer, Manoram.
Prabhuji, they still have the opportunity to become a devotee if they get association. Prabhuji.
No, that is true. That is there. But why Krishna is addressing them as Udar? What Udarta do they have? What kind of magnanimous action have they performed so far? They haven't done anything Udar. So why they are being addressed as Udar? They should be said as Kripada. They want to enjoy material desires. They want to fulfill material desires. Or all they have is the desire for liberation. So why they are called Udar? Yes, Ganesh Prabhu?
Prabhuji, they approach Supreme Lord.
Yes, because they are approaching Krishna. And they are wanting to have some dealing, some exchange with Krishna. And any exchange with Krishna means what? Relationship of rasa. And so because they are having this desire to reciprocate with Krishna, to have loving reciprocation or exchanges with Krishna, so they are all Udar. See how Krishna is really Udar. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So they are all Udar. Why? Because they are fulfilling what Krishna desires. See, even though they have their own spiritual, they don't have spiritual desires, they have their own material desires. But just because they are approaching Krishna, they are fulfilling Krishna's desire. What is Krishna's desire? What is Krishna's desire? Well, Krishna has revealed in Bhagavad Gita. What is his desire? Yes, Ramya?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam
Yes,
saranam vraja.
yes. So they have already taken to the path, although they have not parityajya. They are still not parityajya. They have not given up everything. But since they have started, they have begun to approach Krishna. So ultimately, finally, this is what Prabhupada said, that because they are approaching the right goal, they are approaching the right goal. Even if they have all the contaminations in their heart, even if they have aspirations for all material enjoyment. But because they are approaching Krishna like an impure gold, a person who is experienced, or one who is a connoisseur, even if he finds impure gold, he will not put it into the waste. Will he throw it into the waste? No. What he will be doing? He will remove the impurity and he will take the value of the gold. So similarly, anyone and everyone, or whoever approaches Krishna, what Krishna does, he removes the contamination or the impurity which is there in the heart. So less intelligent people who have lost, see the translation of this quoted verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, that less intelligent person who have lost their spiritual sense takes shelter of demigods for immediate fulfillment of material desires. Krishna spoke this in the previous chapter also. Krishna has spoken about this. Who remembers where did he speak? That those who have lost their spiritual sense, they approach the demigods for quick fulfillment of their material desires. Who remembers where Krishna spoke this verse? He's already given this principle. We have already discussed this in the previous chapter. Anyone can quote where he spoke? Which verse was it? Quickly, you should be knowing, those who are regular students, where Krishna has already quoted this verse. No one. Kamshitam karmana siddhi yajante hi devata shipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Now, who can, who can speak? Which verse is this? Very famous section. We discussed this very famous section where Krishna is speaking this. He speaks this verse just after Ye Yatham Mam Prapadyante. In the 4th chapter, this is the 12th verse. Ye Yatham Mam Prapadyante Tam Satheva Bhajamiyam. After Krishna says that I respond, reciprocate according to one's approach or one's surrender. Ye Yatham Mam Prapadyante Tam Satheva Bhajamiyam. And he says that those who are not reciprocating with me, those who are not approaching me, so what they do? Kankshitam karmana siddhi. They are always wanting to achieve perfection. How? Yajante iha devata, by approaching the demigods. So such person, why do they approach the demigods? Because they are wanting some perfection in the material existence. Generally, I'm continuing to read. Generally, such people do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Those who have lost their spiritual sense and those who take shelter of demigod for fulfillment of material desires. This is very dangerous. That we should not lose our spiritual sense. What is spiritual sense? You see what Prabhupada is quoting here? That less intelligent people who have lost their spiritual sense. This is what it means, that who is less intelligent, that he has lost his spiritual sense. Can anyone elaborate what is spiritual sense? There has to be some reciprocation from your side. It should not be that you're completely silent. Such people do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have lost their spiritual sense. You figure out what is spiritual sense. Because they are in the lower modes of nature. This is another reason. That why people are not approach Krishna, because they are in the lower modes of ignorance and passion. Unless and until one comes to the platform of goodness, it is not possible to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which mode? Who will worship whom? Bhagavad Gita explains that. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they can only approach worship Vishnu or Krishna. Those who are in the mode of passion, they will worship for material desires. Those who are free from material desires can only worship the Supreme Lord. Those who are free from material desires, those who have become pure, because mode of goodness is pure, they can aspire for worshipping the Supreme Lord. But those who are infatuated with all material desires, those who are in the mode of passion, they will only approach the demigods to fulfill their material desires or aspirations. Because they are in the lower mode of nature, ignorance and passion, and therefore worship various demigods. We see all the demoniac people, asuras. Ravan used to worship whom? Ravan used to worship Lord Shiva. They cannot worship Krishna. So all the demons, the Asuric people, Asuric means what? That they want to enjoy independently from Krishna. So they have a tendency to worship the demigods. Following the rules and regulations of worship, they are satisfied. So they follow the rules and regulations of the demigod worship. The worshippers of demigods are motivated by small desires, and they do not know how to reach the supreme goal. But a devotee of the Supreme Lord is not misguided, because in Vedic literature there are recommendations for worshipping different gods for different purposes. Example, a diseased man is recommended to worship the sun. So if he does that, then he can become healthy. And those who are not devotees of the Lord think that for certain purposes, demigods are better than the Supreme Lord. This is another misconception. Because the demigods give very easily such favors and boons. So they are thinking that the demigod worship is better. But a pure devotee knows that the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is the master of all. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 5.142, it is said, Ekaler Ishwar Krishna or Sabhritya. Only the Supreme Person of God, the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, is master and all others are servant. Therefore, our pure devotee never goes to demigod for satisfaction of his material needs. He depends on the Supreme Lord, and a pure devotee is satisfied with whatever he gains. Okay, so here basically what is being mentioned is the mentality of those who approach the demigods is being discussed here. Any question on this? Or we go to the next verse? If you have any question or doubt, please ask. Yes?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, here in that above the reference, Bhagavatam reference, there is one line. He should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva and worship him. If he is surrendering to Lord Krishna, then yes, Prabhuji.
See, what it says, akama. Akama means one who is without any material desire. That means he is very pure. But how many of us can come to this category? That is very rare. Then the second category is Sarva Kamova. Sarva Kamova means those who are abundant with material desires. All their aspiration is to enjoy this material existence. Even if though he is not pure, even if he does not have any desire to engage in devotional service, but nonetheless he approaches Krishna. Then what will be the effect that is given here? Or even if the person is having a desire for liberation, they are all udaradhi. Again, this is what I discussed. They are all considered to be very magnanimous, very generous. Why? Because they will all, sooner or later, they will all get, because of approaching Krishna, they will have the opportunity to serve Krishna. Tivrena bhakti yogena. They will all be engaged in performing bhakti yoga. How? By the process of hearing, reading, chanting, and sharing. They will get this opportunity. And those who will accept this opportunity of Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, Yajeta Purusha Param. How? By worshipping the Supreme Lord. So they will have the opportunity to serve, and service will purify them.
Prabhuji, what is their way of approaching? I mean, because it is a very good sign, a very good hope that within the
They are approaching like Krishna is saying, Artho Jigyasu Artharthi Jnani Cha Bharat Rishabha. This is their approach. We discussed that. In their heart, they don't have desire to serve. But somehow, because they have approached Krishna, they will end up serving. And as they will engage in service, what will be the result? They'll become purified.
how long time that will take, Prabhuji? And
That Krishna has said. It may be Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Everything is so clear. But what did Krishna, Srila Prabhupada speak in the purport? In Bahunam Janmanam Ante. How many lifetime is required? How many lifetimes it may take?
So many births and so many deaths. So many lifetimes.
That is,
Millions of.
that is for those who do not get the privilege of association of pure devotee. Yeah. But if one gets the association of a pure devotee, one lifetime is sufficient. One lifetime is sufficient. Then he does not have to come again. this is the very extraordinary opportunity. This is called Kripa Siddhi. One is called the Sadhana Siddhi, that is Bahunam Janmanamante. That on one's own sadhana, by one's own practice, by one's austerities, by following one's own regulations, that may take Bahunam Janmanamante. That is on one's own endeavor. But the other is that he receives causeless mercy. That is called Kripa Siddhi. Siddhi means perfection. And how it is coming? It is coming by mercy. And who has this Kripa Siddhi? Those who are lovers of Krishna, those who are devotees of Krishna, those who are, very importantly, authorized by Krishna. That is the most important criteria. Those who are authoritative. You saw my picture in Vada. Some of you saw my picture in Vada. So there was His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. On the other side, there was one devotee in saffron. He is from Tirupati, Leela Prabhu. And then it was me, and then there was one fourth person also. You saw one fourth person, a little stout, foreign-bodied, with big white beard. That devotee is also a disciple of Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And he brings so many foreigners and Americans to come there and get a introduction and taste of what is spiritual life. And by performing this service alone, he can return home back to God. How? Because he has received the mercy of his spiritual master, Radhanath Swami Maharaj. There, it was such a magical place. There, when we went in the evening, we reached there at around 5. And from 6, there was program. There, it is so, amazingly arranged that we have all the 12 Dwadash Mana in that Govardhan Eco Village. All the Dwadash Manas are there. And every Leela Sthali of Vrajbhumi is there. So there is one place which is the shore of Yamuna Devi. And that is the deity of Yamuna Devi. I sent in one of the photograph also of Yamuna Devi. So Yamuna Devi was there. You didn't see Manoram? You were so busy.
Guruji, I'll go through all that.
So on the Yamuna Devi, you didn't go through. You are still very busy in your lab. You'll go through everything in your lab. Anyway, try to come to this spiritual lab. Try to uplift. So there Yamuna Devi is there, and there is, Yamuna flowing. A replica of it, not in true sense, but it is manifest there. And devotee was singing from 6 to 7 was the time, scheduled time. And Radhanath Swami Maharaj came, and he was hearing the kirtan, and everyone was feeling so blissful and ecstatic. And then after 7, when the kirtan was to be over, one foreign devotee came. He never looked like a devotee. He was wearing like the normal Westerner clothes, very big build, heavy with beard and all. And he sat on the place where kirtan was being performed, and he started to sing. One of the most melodious kirtan I have ever heard. His devotion was different. We were talking about the song divine. It was Shotra Mano Bhirama. It was so pleasing to the ears, to the mind, and to the heart when he was singing the mantra. And he sang for almost 1 hour and no one moved, including Maharaj, because everyone was immersed in the nectar of holy name. So, if externally one will look at him, one will be bewildered. So how is that possible? It is through Kripa Siddhi, that he has pleased his spiritual master. Actually, that Prabhuji is Gaurmani Prabhu. He is the son of an Uttama Prabhu, who is the communications director. He brought 70 people from America. That place has been developed actually to receive the foreign tourists and give them such a spiritual ambience that they can take to Krishna consciousness. Such an environment is there. So these devotees who are the interface between non-devotees and as convincing them to come to India, Bharatvarsha, Bharatbhumi, and be in these places. They were there for 15 days. They spent 15 days there. And they have such sessions. So these are not pure persons. They have not come to become pure devotees. But because they have approached Krishna, and how they have approached Krishna? Through a devotee of Krishna. So what will be the effect? That tivrena bhakti yogena. So how they will become devotees? Because they participated in kirtan. Everyone sat, as I said, from 6 to 2 years, 2 hours, everybody very blissfully enjoyed the kirtan. Next day morning, when we went to Mangala Aarti, we saw them again. Although the construction is going on, the renovation is going on, but in the morning only Mangala Aarti until Guru Puja they open. Mangala Aarti they open for say 30 minutes, and then again they open for 30 minutes for Guru Puja, and then it is closed for renovation. But I saw most of the foreign devotees, those who had come, they were all singing, dancing, participating. So just hearing, singing, taking prasad, being in association of devotee is what? This is Bhakti Yoga. And what kind of Bhakti Yoga it is? Tivrena. What is Tivra? Tivra means which is very intense. So when one comes in this intense association and he performs devotional service, and what is he doing? Yajeta Purusham Param. He begins to worship the Supreme Person. So ultimately he will achieve the highest goal. So this is how the blissfulness of Krishna consciousness is, and how it is all inclusive. Krishna consciousness is all inclusive. Anyone and everyone can take to Krishna consciousness, even whether he is akama, sarva kamova, or moksha kama. Okay, I'll quickly go to the next verse and at least take 2 more verses on this section. Because so Krishna says, even if you worship demigod, and why you are worshipping? See, you see, no one ever worships the demigod to please the demigod. The purpose of worshipping the demigod is to get ourselves pleased by getting our desire fulfilled by the demigod. There is no such desire to please the demigod. The desire is that ultimately the demigod will please us by bestowing the benediction or the benefit that we desire. So this is like a trade. This is not a loving exchange. This is like a trade. That we give you what you like and you give me back what I desire or what I like. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports that the word bhajan cannot be used for demigod worship. The word bhajan can only be used for Supreme Lord, because bhajan requires that which has no material motive. It is free from material motive. So let us see the 21st verse. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhyarchitum ichhati tasya achalam shraddha tameva vidadhami aham. So yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta. So whoever and wherever or whichever form of the Tanum demigod one wants to worship or become his devotee, with Shraddha. Shraddha means with little faith, and Archita means to worship. So with whoever, with whatever desire or aspiration, or whoever demigod one wants to worship with little faith, Krishna says that tasya achalam shraddha. So whatever little faith he is having, the faith, what was Ravana having the faith in worshiping Lord Shiva? That Lord Shiva can bestow his desires to be fulfilled. What was the desire of Ravana? Is to please and glorify Lord Shiva? No. The desire was that how Lord Shiva can help me so that I can become unconquerable. No one can win against me. And I can be able to win over everyone else. So Krishna says that faith that he has in that demigod. So I fix that faith. Tasya achalam shraddha. Chalam means that which is, chanchala means that which is very flickering. Flickering means which is changing. So that shraddha, which becomes fixed in worship of that demigod, Krishna says, tam eva videdami ham, that it is only because of me. That see the translation here, that I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So Prabhupada says that God has given independence to everyone. Therefore, if a person desires to have material enjoyment and wants very sincerely to have such facilities from the material demigods, the Supreme Lord as super soul in everyone's heart, understand and give facilities to such person. So if one is aspiring to enjoy, the Krishna allows. Okay. As the Supreme Father of living entities, he does not interfere with their independence. This is the very unique feature of Krishna. That he does not forces or interfere with anyone and everyone. For general mass of men, for most mass of men, or even for his devotee, he does not interfere. He allows them to do what they like. As a Supreme Father of all living entity, he does not interfere with their independence, but gives all facilities so that they can fulfill their material desires. Some may ask why the all-powerful God gives facilities to the living entities for enjoying this material world. So lets them fall into the trap of illusionary energy. So one may ask that why he is giving independence when he is knowing that if we are given independence, what we will do? We will misuse. Like a child, if he is allowed to go to the school, and in the school, see, you would have had the experience. Once you have entered the school gate gets locked. Until the time the school is not over, if the student wants to come out of the school, he cannot come out. Can he come out? No, the watchman does not allow. But if the gate is set free, then what will be the criteria? What will be the situation? Gradually we'll see one student getting out, and following him, many will follow. What do you call as bunk? Bunk marne lenge sab. Bhagne lenge. They leave the classes. So this question is being raised that when Krishna knows that if he gives us independence, so we will misuse the independence. So why is giving us this independence? So that we follow. Huh? Why is giving us independence? If he does not give us independence, then our chance of misusing the independence does not come. So Prabhupada is raising this question that some may ask why the all-powerful God gives facilities to the living entities for enjoying this material world, and so lets them fall into the trap of illusionary energy. The answer is that if the Supreme Lord as Super Soul does not give such facilities, then there is no meaning to independence. Therefore, he gives everyone full independence, whatever one likes. So Krishna gives everyone the opportunity. But whether we accept the opportunity or not, Krishna does not interfere in that. He does not, this is his magnanimity. He does not treat us as machines. Like your mobile phone in your hand. Does it have any independence? Can he show you any channel which he desires? No. The control is with you. Anytime you may switch it off. And anytime you may switch it on. And whenever you want, you can change the channel. Does it have any say? Can it resist that? No, 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 this program is very good. Why you want to change? No. But Krishna does not treat us as objects. Krishna treats us as good as himself. And he gives everyone the independence and the opportunity to make his own selection. If the answer is the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul does not give us a speciality, then there is no meaning to independence. Therefore, he gives everyone full independence, whatever one likes. But his ultimate instruction we find in the Bhagavad Gita, one should give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto him. That will make man happy. Both the living entity and the demigod are subordinate to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore the living entity cannot worship the demigod by his own desire. Nor can the demigod bestow any benediction without the Supreme will. This is very important. Very, very important to understand. From Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives this very clarity that the demigods themselves, they have no authority or no capacity to bestow any boon to anyone. Why? Because the authority rests in Krishna only. What Krishna does? Seeing the sincerity or the faith that one has developed in the demigod, Krishna empowers the demigod to pass on the material benefit to his worshipper. I have given this example many times. What are the demigods? The demigods are the authorized appointed agents for material management by the Supreme Lord Krishna himself. They are like managers who are managing the affairs of material existence or material creation. But Krishna is like the chairperson. So if the managers, from where do they take resource? Do they bring it from their own house? Or do they borrow from their own friends? No. They utilize from the company. Company belongs to the chairman. So if they want to encourage some employee and reward him with some compensation, so where they will pay from? Actually, they'll pay from the company. And company belongs to whom? Company belongs to the chairman. So indirectly, who is paying? It is the chairman who is paying, but through the manager, to that worker or to that employee. So similarly, here it is said that the demigod cannot bestow any benediction without the supreme will. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, persons who are distressed in the material world go to the demigods, as they are advised in the Vedic literature. Like a person wanting some particular thing may worship such and such demigod. For example, a diseased person is recommended to worship the sun god. A person wanting education may worship the goddess of learning, Saraswati. And a person wanting a beautiful wife may worship the goddess Uma and the wife of Lord Shiva. In this way, there are recommendations in the Shastra Vedic scriptures for different mode of worship of different demigods. And because a particular living entity wants to enjoy a particular material facility, the Lord inspires him with a strong desire to achieve that benediction from that particular demigod. How the Lord inspires? Because the Lord is seated as a super soul within the heart. And he inspires from within. And so he successfully receives the benediction. That particular mode of devotional attitude of the living entity towards a particular type of demigod is also arranged by the Supreme Lord. That Shraddha which comes in that Shraddha or the faith which is being instilled in any particular demigod, it is coming directly from Krishna. The demigods cannot infuse the living entities with such an affinity. But because he is the Supreme Lord or the Super Soul who is present in the hearts of all living entity, Krishna gives the impetus to man to worship certain demigods. The demigods are actually different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. This is very important. The demigods are compared to the different limbs or different parts of the entire body of the Supreme Lord. Krishna gives, okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Super Soul, is also present within the heart of the demigod. Therefore, he arranges through the demigods to fulfill the desire of the living entity. But both the demigod and the living entity are dependent on the supreme will. They are not independent. So here we see that Krishna is saying that whatever faith, Shraddha, that one is cultivating towards the demigod worship for fulfilling his desire, Krishna studies that faith and he allows the demigod to fulfill the aspiration of the devotee of demigod. Then the next verse. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Tasya Ihate Labate Tatha Kama Mayeva Vihitan Hitan. So endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Again, Krishna has to speak this. Very important. So Krishna is revealing in this section that if we have to ask, why not directly ask? Why not directly approach Krishna? Why should we go through an agent? The demigods cannot award benedictions to their devotees without the permission of the Supreme Lord. The living entity may forget that everything is the property of the Supreme Lord, but the demigods do not forget. So the worship of demigods are due not to the demigods, but to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by arrangement. The less intelligent living entity does not know this, and therefore he foolishly goes to the demigods for some benefits. But the pure devotee who is, when in need of something, prays only to Supreme Lord. Asking for material benefits, however, is not a sign of pure devotee. He is neophyte, or he is in the beginning stage. A living entity goes to the demigods usually because he is mad to fulfill his lust. That is Kamastha Hitagyana. Demigod worshippers, they approach demigods to fulfill their desires or lust. A living entity goes to the demigods usually because he is mad to fulfill his lust. This happens when something undue is desired by the living entity and the Lord himself does not fulfill their desires. This is very important. So why it happens? Because by worshipping the Supreme Lord, one may not get what he desires. Prabhupada gives the example that the relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord is like the father and the son. So father will never give anything which is going to become a deterrent to the son or the child. Prabhupada gives the example that if the child, he has a 10 rupee note and he approaches the shopkeeper and says that you please give me cigarettes for 10 rupees. Although he is a minor. But still, if the shopkeeper receives the value, he will give cigarettes. He will not ask that this is not the age for you to smoke. or should not be smoking. He is just bothered about his remuneration, his price, his profit. As soon as he is receiving his profit, he is least concerned with what happens to the child. But if the same child goes to the father and gives him even 100 rupees, and he says, you buy me a cigarette packet, so what the father will do? The father will take away the money, slap him, and not give him the cigarette also. So demigod worshipper means that those who want to bring trouble for themselves. Why? Because of their material aspirations. And Krishna is not fulfilling. So what they do? They leave Krishna and they approach some other demigod. So this is said here. It is not everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the supreme person. It is okay. Okay, we're in the 22nd, sorry. Ask, okay. This happens when something undue is desired by the living entity and the Lord himself does not fulfill the desire. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that one who worships the Supreme Lord and at the same time desires material enjoyment is contradictory in his desires. There's a very beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Manoram, show this verse. This is Ami bhaje Vishwa mange. Ami AMI, Ami bhaje Vishwa mange. Visha kena diva. Swa Charnamrit diya, Visha bhulaiva. So Krishna says that a person may be foolish, that he is asking for something which is self-destructive. But how can I be foolish? That he is wanting his self-destruction and I award him that which will lead him for his self-destruction. That I will never do. That a loving father will never do for his son or for his daughter. But if you go to the business person, he is least bothered. He wants to have his value. Whether that value is being given by a boy or by a girl or by an old man or by a young man, he is least bothered. You didn't find?
Yes, Prabhuji, trying to, it is reloading.
You found the verse or should I tell you the verse? Ama bhaje visha mange. Visha kena diva. Swa charnamrit diya. Visha bhulaiva. That is the verse. Any one of you can find this verse? Otherwise, I'll find it.
The verse number is, I think, 20 to 38, but it is not opening here. I'm trying also.
Okay, I'll open it.
Yes, Prabhuji. Can I share from mobile?
Okay, why not? Yeah. Yes, this is the word. कृष्ण कहे आवा भजे मांगे विषय सुख अमृत छाड़ी विषय मांगे यही बड़ा मूर्खा. Krishna says if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who has given up ambrosia to drink poison. Show the next verse. This. Yeah. Then he says, Ami Vigna ei murkha vishay kena diva swacharnamrita diya vishay bulaiva. Since I am very intelligent, he is foolish. That is why Krishna says, Kamastesta hitagyana, who is less intelligent. But Krishna is most intelligent. Why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take to the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusionary material enjoyment. Thank you. So Prabhupada is saying that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that one who worships the Supreme Lord and at the same time desires material enjoyment is contradictory in his desires. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord and worship to a demigod cannot be on the same platform. Because worship of the demigod is material and devotional service to the Supreme Lord is completely spiritual. For the living entity who desires to return to Godhead, material desires are impediments. A pure devotee of the Lord is therefore not awarded the material benefits desired by less intelligent living entities. Please note Prabhupada is saying, a pure devotee of the Lord is therefore not awarded the material desires. By whom? By the Supreme Lord, desired by less intelligent living entities, who therefore prefer to worship demigods of the material world rather than engage in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. I'll tell you an example. Even the demigods, when they see the person is pure, they suggest him or they guide him to come to worship of the Supreme Lord. You see, all the devotees of ISKCON, none of them were born devotees of Krishna. Most of them, they were devotees of the demigods. And in many cases, the demigods themselves directed them to worship the Supreme Lord, seeing their purity of the intent. There was one Brahmana in Varanasi. In Varanasi, he was the ardent worshipper of Lord Shiva. And he had a daughter. And that Sharma Brahmana wanted to get her daughter married. And he was, of course, very poor. He had no resource. So he prayed to Lord Shiva that, my dear Lord, all my entire life, I have worshipped you. I have served you. So now in my want, in my situation where I need help, who else can I ask? You please help me so that I can get my daughter married. But this Brahmana was pure. So Lord Shiva suggested him to go and approach one sage in Vrindavan. He said, you go and approach that sage. That sage has one touchstone. It's called Chintamani. And however is the need of you, whatever desire you have, whatever need you have, he'll give you as much gold. Go there, he'll give you the gold. He has such a touchstone that as much as gold you want, he can give. And you can marry your daughter. So this Brahmana became very happy. He said, all glories to Lord Shiva. You are really Ashutosh, who can be very easily pleased. And with that desire, he came to Vrindavan. And he found out that sage, that Mahatma, that sage is Srila Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami was busy, happily doing services to what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said. So this Brahmana came, he paid his obeisances, bowed to the lotus feet of Sanatana Goswami and said that, my dear sir, I have come a long way from Kashi, crossing the Yamuna to have your audience because Lord Shiva recommended me. So Sanatana Goswami asked him that, my dear Brahmana, what can I do for you? He said, Lord Shiva said that you have a touchstone and you can give me as much gold as I desire. Sanatana Goswami said, yes, I do have a touchstone and you can receive as much gold as you want. So the Brahmana said, I require a lot of gold, but how will I carry? So Sanatana Goswami said, okay, you take the touchstone and you get as much gold as you want and you return with the gold touchstone. So he said, okay, thank you very much. You are fulfilling my heart's desire. Then he said that, please give me the touchstone. And Sanatana Goswami pointed him where the touchstone was. He said, you see the garbage bag? And beneath the garbage bag is the touchstone. So you can pick up the touchstone, get your work done, and return to me. So this Brahmana was very happy. He took the touchstone and happily returned. He was returning to Kashi. And when he went a little ahead, then he started to think he was a Brahmana. Brahmana means he is intelligent. He was thinking that Sanatana Goswami, he very easily gave me the touchstone. As soon as I asked for the touchstone, he gave me the touchstone. Instead of giving me gold from the touchstone, he handed over me the entire touchstone. That means he has something which is even more valuable than the touchstone. Because if he had something which is most valuable, why will he give me? And to lose it forever. If I may not return, then what he will do? That means he has something which is even more higher than this touchstone. So he came back. He came back and he again fell at the feet of Sanatana Goswami and said, my dear sir, I think you have cheated me. Sanatana Goswami said, how I have cheated you? He said, you must be having something which is more valuable. Otherwise, first thing I am thinking, why you are keeping this most valuable thing in the garbage? If something is valuable, will you keep in the garbage? And secondly, if something is so valuable, how you will easily give it to me? That means there must be something which is more valuable than this touchstone that you are having and that you are hiding from me. So Sanatana Goswami, when he was questioned, he said, yes, my dear Brahmana, I have something very valuable, which is more valuable, more precious than this touchstone. But I can only give you when you go and throw this in the Yamuna. So the Brahmana took the touchstone and threw it in the Yamuna and came back. And again fell at the lotus feet of the Lord. And he said, my dear sir, now you please reveal to me what you have, which is more valuable than the touchstone. And Sanatana Goswami introduced him to chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which he was chanting in ecstasy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sanatana Goswami was the Prime Minister. You can go and Google it also. Nawab Hussain Shah. 500 years back. Nawab Hussain Shah was the king of entire Bengal. And Bengal was the capital at that time of entire India. Most richest province. He had many he had, Mandalapati. He gave it all. Why? Because he received the Amrit. This is what Krishna is saying. Amrit Dipo. He received the nectar of the holy name. And he introduced that nectar in the heart of the Brahmana. And the Brahmana was satisfied. So Bhagavad Gita removes poison which is there filled in our heart. And introduces us to become eligible to drink nectar ambrosia. And make our life become blissful and successful. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. If you have any question or any clarification, please ask. So Krishna in this recommending that those who are less intelligent demigods to fulfill such desires, because such desires are impediments for their spiritual progress. Krishna will not fulfill them. Krishna as a loving father will never allow his sons and daughter to suffer. So these people who are less intelligent, they may approach the demigods for fulfilling their own desires. Hare Krishna. Before I came to Krishna consciousness, I was worshipper of Lord Hanuman, Hanumanji, Bajrang throughout my childhood. Because my father used to worship, and from my childhood, I also picked up the worship. And in one of the songbooks of Hanumanji, I found one verse I've shared with some of the devotees of Bhagavad Gita, Sarv Dharmani Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. And I was searching what does this verse mean? And someone told me that this is the verse from Bhagavad Gita. Then I asked him, what is Bhagavad Gita? And he told me, if you go to railway station, there is Gita Press Gorakhpur, and in 2 rupees you can get Bhagavad Gita. So I first picked up that Bhagavad Gita and I tried to read, but I couldn't understand anything because it was in Hindi, Sanskrit verse, and Hindi only translation. But my inquisitiveness to know Bhagavad Gita began, and then somehow by mercy I came in touch with ISKCON devotees and started to approach Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. So everyone, so many of my ISKCON friends, devotees, they were all worshippers. Some were worshippers of Durga, some were worshippers of Shiva, some were worshippers of some other demigods. But ultimately, they ended up being devotee of Krishna. Why? Because they got in touch with the devotee of Krishna. This is what akamo sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharati. Tivrena bhakti yogena rajete purusham param. The Krishna consciousness is all-inclusive. Whoever at whatever stage of life he is, he can practice Krishna consciousness and make his life perfect. Hare Krishna. अगर किसी क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो बंद करो. It is 9:14. What you should ask? If you have something genuine in your heart, you should inquire. So that the confusion should be over and conviction should come. Then you'll be able to take step forward. Otherwise, you remain in the debacle where you are. Tomorrow we have Shobha Yatra in a temple. I have posted sale. So come in the evening, in the afternoon, not in the morning session. Sonika, you want to come?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So bring whatever is possible for you, bring prepared. We'll have, there was Pushya Abhishek of Radha. So we will be celebrating tomorrow. So Radha Krishna, Radha Parsarthi will come on the palanquin and we can offer. Come around 3. Ravindra Prabhu? Okay. So thank you all very much for your attention. I pray that you keep coming and receive this message of Lord Krishna and receive all his mercy and blessings. Hare Krishna. You are all invited, those who are IERI students. Dayashil, you are hearing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Unmute and speak.
Yes,
You
Prabhuji.
can
I
all
am
invite
hearing.
them. You can all come. You can all invite them. Those who want to come to the temple tomorrow and participate in Krishna's dance party. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.